I'm Jim Check. You're watching Now Media. With me, Mayor Tom Dyas. Thank you for coming in.
Jim, thank you for the invitation.
You're looking great. You're looking amazing. That's good.
Thank you, sir.
We've done lots of stories, and I just finished an interview with Eleanor Sturko, MLA. She's also the critic for the Solicitor General and Community Safety as well. And we've been talking a lot about crime in British Columbia. That it started with the BIA-BC. Jeremy Heighton, the president of that, out of Kamloops, highlighting a few stats that were kind of troubling. 67% of businesses, definitely feeling the stress and strain of crime in BC. And then the really troubling one is 1 in 5 businesses basically saying that they might not make it another year if we don't see any improvement.
And we were grateful for the BIAs to go out to the businesses that they went out to and look at putting together that report. It assists us in our advocacy work. When we meet with business owners, when we meet with residents, and when we meet with the service providers, it backs up exactly what we're hearing. It also, confirms we know the changes that need to be made. So, for the BIAs to come out with that, I think you may or may not be aware that I do sit on the URBA board, Uptown Rutland Business Association board, and do also are familiar with DKA, and we hear exactly what the concerns are of business owners. We hear exactly what the concerns are of residents. And that's why when we look at doing something in the community, we're able to only manage certain parts of it. And the parts that we can manage is putting more police on our streets, putting more bylaw on our streets, putting more firemen on our streets to deal with the what has to be dealt with from an emergency standpoint. But as a municipality, we do not have the core elements to make the changes that need to be made at a federal level and at a provincial level in order to make a true difference in the core concerns of many of our businesses, residents, and also service providers.
The letter that you wrote, you addressed to Sean Fraser, the Justice Minister there, is very powerful, and it had a lot of impact. I think we used it quite a bit there because you highlighted something in there that is very much like part of, like the real issue, I think, for a lot of people. One person, I think, in a couple of years had accumulated 222 files, if I remember, 223 files maybe, and then also 32 failures to comply, and then 32 failures to appear. And to the question that we have there is like, how many failures to appear before the person is held for waiting their court date? I mean, is it 50? Is it 100? The frustration with the RCMP and you guys, obviously that's what led you to write that letter.
And you're correct. There's one individual who has about 230. Collectively, there are 15 individuals who have about 1,350 repetitive, repeat charges put against them within the period of a year. And we know the RCMP are doing what they need to do. They are working at, finding these individuals, doing the paperwork to put charges against these individuals, submitting that paperwork to the Crown. And the difficulty is we do not have enough members of the Crown in order to be able to deal with the volume of cases that come before them. So unless it is a situation that is, what they would classify as the most severe, it's just cycling through the system. It's continually cycling through the system. So I know we're communicating with other communities. I know Penticton is also in a situation where they have about 10 individuals and they're sitting
I saw it in Vancouver as well.
Yeah. Vancouver. So collectively across the board, all of our communities have this continual cycle of people going through the court systems who are affecting businesses, the costs associated with regards to business to do repairs, the costs associated with respect to business for security, safety, and then they're not being dealt with properly. They're being released, they're being put back on the streets, and the cycle continues.
Yeah, 32 failures to appear. I can't get past that. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're the judge, you're sitting there, and here's the guy again. He's back in there, and he's just like, okay, he looks at it, and he says, yeah, you can go. Right? Like I have a tough time with that one. Right?
Well, and part of the and again, I'm not a lawyer, so I understand the legislation the way that I'm informed of it. And part of what takes away that situation is obviously the failure not to appear. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, it's automatic that the charges are just put forward because you did not. But that isn't even happening because there isn't the ability for those Crown prosecutors to deal with them properly. So it's broken. It's broken. And this is part of what we're going to be advocating for. It's one of the very strong items that we will be advocating for is that we need more Crown prosecutors. And it will be something that we continue to take into UBCM next week. It's something that not only within this community, but all mayors up and down the valley are feeling the same way. We need some assistance. As a municipality, without a doubt, we can manage the situation. We can increase our budgets to bring in more police officers, increase our budgets to bring in bylaw. Also, the services wrapped around it that we have to do with, maybe providing land or providing types of housing. So there's potential a way out for those individuals who want to find a way out. But it's that repetitive core that we need change.
Yeah, imagine if you could take those people off the street for a period of time, because this person that you highlight there, it's assaults, thefts, threats, public disturbances, and and then collectively you talk about your 15 people, and then those 15 in Penticton or whatever, 35 in Vancouver, that are causing a lot of the disturbance for small businesses, where it's so tough right now. I mean, it's really tough for small businesses, especially when they have glass breakage and all those things, and it's underneath their deductible and that, so they have to pay for that. I think we did a story on a pizza joint. They had 3 windows in about 3 months and $1,000 a window, and obviously the deductible is $5,000 for them, and then so you got to sell a lot of pizza just to make up for those windows.
Well, and it even goes beyond that because the window is broken. Maybe the first time it's covered by insurance. The window is broken again. Maybe the second time it's covered by insurance again. It's broken the third time. Now the insurance company is saying, well, we don't know whether we're going to cover this anymore, and potentially even get to a point where they're saying, well, we don't know whether or not we're going to renew your insurance policy anymore. Mm-hmm. Once they don't renew the insurance policy, a condition of the lease for that business is that they have insurance. Yeah. So now what do they do? So there is a large spiraling effect that happens when we're not dealing properly with those individuals that are constantly dealing with these, creating this turmoil.
And I think, shining a light on it, I think that letter you did is very good. I mean, it brings some national stage to that too, and I think that'll be good. I mean, it's tough to ignore that letter. It's a tough letter, and hopefully shining a light. Eleanor Sturko, obviously another, proponent for this, Gavin Dew in this local market here, and you say you're going to UBCM, so hopefully businesses can see some relief with that. But you talked about country a little bit. You guys, you had donned the cowboy hat and the cowboy boots and all that, and we had, a national stage kind of event here in Kelowna, a little bit happier note there.
Can I circle back for 1 second?
Sure,
on it?
Sure.
Just with regards to the letter that we wrote to Sean Fraser. That was specifically around the bail reform itself, and the idea of needing that bail reform is key. It goes completely in line with the province now bringing us in Crown prosecutors, because when the bail reform is completed, and now you're not able to continue to go through that process of walking, there's more Crown prosecutors in place. Now they're able to deal with those files. And the third piece that we're going to advocate for is compassionate mandatory type of care. There are a certain element of our population, and as a municipality, we are trying to help. We've established 180 of the tiny homes. The process of just telling a little bit of a story on Step Place and Trailside. Originally, we had 120 individuals at the first year when they were full. Out of that first year, and they've only been in operation for a little more than a year, 66 of them transitioned out of that 120 into either supportive housing, dealt with interior health, or went back to family. So there's huge things that we can do when we can manage. We cannot create laws. We cannot put in place with regards to the courts, what we need to have in place with regards to Crown prosecutors, and we can also not put individuals into that mandatory type of care. And we are advocating right now that there be consideration given to the correctional center, which is down in Oliver. It has the ability to house about 380 individuals. Currently, at this particular point in time, there's only about 70 individuals in it, so it only has occupancy of about 20 or 25%. And we've been advocating to the province. I've had discussions with the Premier also that this would be the perfect facility to be able to allow for that compassionate, mandatory type of care to deal with these individuals who are unable, because of circumstances, to find a way, forward that is a much better path. So just to kind of round out that whole process, those will be the things that we are strongly advocating for over the next little bit.
Well,
I'll go back to the country now.
Now there you go. It's great to get these national stage events here, and we're getting a few more too. But tell us a little bit about the CCMAs.
Oh, it was, it was an event that started to be put together about 7 years ago. Discussion started on it about 7 years ago. It ramped up considerably about 2 years ago when we started to have discussions with CCMAs and to see whether or not it could actually come to this community. They didn't know, because of the size of our market, because of the size of our town, how it would actually fit. And I think as you had, as many of us had seen from the artist after they left this town, all of them were saying, it would be the location where we would like to have all future CCMAs.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, right?
And when we look at the CCMA house, which happened down on the stage, the number of individuals who were there, the pop-up events that happened, throughout the bars and throughout the restaurants within the community. We saw e-scooters with horse heads. We saw floating F-150s. I mean, there was so many positive components to it. I had the opportunity to get together with the president of the CCMAs on Sunday after it was all done, and had a conversation with Amy about how she felt everything went, and they were just so grateful for what everyone in Kelowna did, what the businesses did, what all the volunteers did, what all the different organizations did, how the restaurants opened their doors, how the bars opened their doors. So it was an amazing time, and it helped put Kelowna on the map and added another big
Anytime
name.
we get national events, I mean, and then we've got a big one coming up as well, right? We have something that we had during COVID there and lost, and you were a proponent for that as well. You were one of the organizers at the time for MemCup, but MemCup is coming back.
This Friday night, the Rockets open their regular season. We get an opportunity to see the brand new clock, the brand new sound system. Yeah. Obviously the new systems that are all the way through the lower lobby area with regards to television systems. It's going to be an exciting year. I mean, it all starts this Friday night, but it's going to be very, very exciting. I had the opportunity to be in the 2004 game when the Rockets won, and the excitement that was in the building at that particular point in time, and the excitement that was in the community. If we're able to duplicate that once again and get to that final game, hopefully we will, and create that excitement.
And we got Josh Georges on the bench.
I know.
The guy that was on the ice.
I know. It's going to be, so he's been there. He's lived it. He knows what it needs to take in order to kind of
knows how to win, right? Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. We've had 2 good summers, really, when you think about for the forest fire stuff, right? We've had, I usually say once we get past mid-September, we're usually pretty safe. Even if something does start, it's usually gets put out because of the cooler temperatures and that. So 2 good summers. It's great, right? Because getting rid of that nickname that we've had. I won't even say that nickname.
Thank you.
But also, a lot of people still complaining about the Airbnb policies here and how it's affecting tourism. And I understand there might be some relief there as well. Yes,
we're because of the development that we've done, purpose-built rentals, infill housing, all of that taking place. We now, as you are very aware, that our vacancy rate, which was sitting at 1%, is now sitting at 4.5%. So we have been having discussions at City Hall with regards to our building and planning, and they will be coming back to us within the next couple of months with respects to considerations and possibilities moving forward around short-term rentals. Also yesterday at a luncheon that we had, there was 2 individuals from Victoria who had meetings with Tourism Kelowna, had meetings with other organizations within town to look at trying to build a possible made in Kelowna solution. Kelowna is a unique community, one of the fastest growing cities in Canada, but also from a tourism standpoint.
I mean, look out there. I mean, it's a tourism thing. And I think that the biggest complaint I hear from people is the ones that were zoned by the city of Kelowna, the ones that were sold based on that, should get that status back. And I think that's the one that people are mostly fighting for, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And I'm really looking forward to the information kind of as it comes forward around it. I think you probably are aware or know that initially when, we had about 2,600 Airbnbs within this community. Before any changes were made, we only had about 1,100 of them licensed. So there was 15.
Yeah, those ones shouldn't have been anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's outside the rules, outside the rules, right?
100%. And so then when we went with the legislation, the way that it was put in place by the province, that allowed for principal residents with a suites to be able to kind of maintain license. And we had about 495 of those. So we grandfathered those so they were able to operate. Now, in the last year, we extended it again. So there's about another 400 or so of principal residences. And then that is going to come back to us with future considerations on how we're going to deal with, the next offerings.
Okay. And the managing editor put this question forward. Scooters, a lot of complaints about these e-scooters. You talk to ones with the horse heads out there, but they do seem to be, and I noticed it myself. I was out there in front of Cabana actually, and they go pretty fast, right? Like they can scoot along pretty good. And the young person had it and was going right along the front of the entrances, right? So and they were going full out, so somebody would walk out of one of those storefronts and they would just walk right into a scooter going 25K or whatever, right? So
are they the Lime ones or their own?
They were the Lime ones. Yeah.
The Lime ones, because the Lime ones are set up. They're supposed to be coordinated where there is governors on them. And maybe it's sometimes fallen off, but when they're sitting on, sidewalks, and especially in certain areas in the downtown core, that it goes down to a very, very low speed.
I noticed it, and I was just like, wow. Just like that. That seemed unsafe, right? And, because it's the person riding the scooter great, but the person walking out of the business with their ice cream cone or whatever they obviously not expecting to get run over, right?
So I will take that back if that's happening with regards to Lime, because they are supposed to have governors on them.
They were definitely the Lime ones.
Yeah, the ones that we know are concerning and causing a lot of concern within the communities are the ones that are bought privately. And if they're bought privately, the speed that are associated with regards to them, and we really don't have control over them other than obviously the police dealing with them directly and stating there's a lot of underage ones too, individuals who are underage doing them, but they have to follow attention to speed.
Yeah, I was driving home along Gordon there, and I was just at Mission Creek Bridge there, and this was a private one for sure. And a young man, I was doing probably 66. I set my car drives itself, so it was set to 66, and all around me. Around everybody, no helmet, just giving her in between, like almost what you call that, lane splitting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. And I mean, I could have turned in the video because the car records all the time, but I was just like, holy cow, man! Like you are asking for an accident, and then somebody's going to feel bad because they ran you, or you know what I mean? Like you're going to fall under the wheels or something.
Yeah, and that's it's illegal.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's totally illegal to look at doing that. It's not something that we want to see happen. We also know that there has been a series of electric motorcycles that have been coming from different areas. And again, same thing, because youth don't even have licenses. So they are illegal. So we have notified the RCMP with that. That's something that isn't. But the Lime one is a little bit different. That's one that I will take back.
Yeah. Election coming up soon, no? Is it another year, right?
Yes.
It's 27?
26.
No,
26.
Yeah, 26, yeah. There's talk about, I mean, again, my managing editor asked me to ask you this, that there's these parties that are starting to form. They're starting to do parties in some cities and stuff like that. Is that, you heard of that yet, or?
I've seen it online,
Yeah.
as probably as most individuals have. That there's, there are
They're starting to form whatever groups or whatever. Like I think we did that something similar in Kelowna with that For Change group. Kind of remember when they did that? That was when I think when Sharon Shepherd was kind of taken out by Colin Bazran, I think, right? When they did that For Change.
It's
right?
interesting. I mean, obviously, this is my first time ever in politics. I've never been in politics before, but the information that I have been told is that we're now into kind of a sully season, they call it. Leading a year up to any type of election, and it's probably the same, on a provincial level, or probably the same on a federal level. So I know that there'll be lots of kind of comments, lots of individuals making decisions and trying to draw attention to themselves.
Seeing if they have a base that'll help them, I guess, right?
Yeah. So I'm certain there'll be lots of kind of how it all plays out is, whatever happens, as long as it's in the best interest of the municipality moving forward, I think that's the most important.
How are things going with Parkinson Rec? A little update there for people.
So good.
I mean, the dirt's going there, right? They're moving dirt around.
Well,
we're going to put a time lapse on because that's right outside our building here.
Yeah,
right?
Parkinson Rec. A little bit of a story that I shared yesterday, but it's an important one with kind of how that all came about. Obviously, the aquatic center, which was down at City Park when it burned down, and the insurance proceeds, instead of rebuilding the aquatic center, went out to Parkinson Rec Center. Yeah. It was an outdoor pool at that time, about 60 some odd years ago, and built Parkinson Rec Center. As a city, it was one of our largest contributors with regards to GHGs. I mean, it was, the structure with regards to the pool, the structure with regards to the facility itself. So something truly needed to be done. So I'm grateful that we have the opportunity now to appreciate everything that previous generations did, and then look at planning for what this generation is going to do for into the future, because that facility is just going to be one of the largest infrastructure projects that this city has seen, and it's going to be a fantastic asset for our community. But not only that one, there'll be we're advancing now the ones that are in Mission, the ones that's in Glenmore, and the one that's in Rutland. There's basically two that we're working on in Rutland. One is in Lions Park, so a redo of that old health facility and everything else there, which will have a youth center in it. So we'll be building a youth center into that, and then the one out at the other Rutland Park, which will be putting in artificial turf fields and more lighting and change rooms and things along those lines. So.
Sorry, I swallowed wrong there.
A lot of positive things around advancing that recreational type of infrastructure.
I did see the Rutland the Rutland Centennial Park. What a change there, right? Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. There's currently, at this point in time, with everything that is going on, we have 131 infrastructure projects under the go. So whether you're looking at the parks, whether you're looking at the roads, whether you're looking at fixing whatever it happens to be, so we've really advanced the number of things that we can do within this community.
I understand most of Rutland has sewer now.
Yes.
That's a big improvement, right?
Yes.
Look at a city like this that actually still had a bunch of septic. So.
Yeah, and understanding that, I mean, it has sewer, and we also understand the way the city was built, being the agriculture city that it is, that there isn't a lot of curb and sidewalks. So now we've undertaken a program which is specifically to try to look at developing those within areas. There used to be a point in time where they would wait till the whole street was developed before they'd look at building it. Yeah. Now we're advancing it, and they're specifically looking at areas and trying to develop curb and gutters within those areas. It's a process. There's lots of streets, and it's going to take a while, but at least it is, we're aware of the need for it.
We had a former mayor in just recently on his 85th birthday, Walter Gray. We had him in. He was showing me his book, and
I read his book. Yeah, there you go. I did.
A storied mayor, the longest. So you got some. You got to beat that record. He says, I think the longest running mayor, or longest serving mayor, not running, because he had I think a couple terms and then a miss and then a. Yeah. But he's quick to point out that his terms, I think, were 2 years at the beginning or something like that. So he at a slight disadvantage there, right?
Walter had come into the office probably a few weeks ago, and when his son, who created the book, brought me in a signed copy, and so I've gone through it and I've read it, and what a great memento from his son to his father.
Yeah, and he's still on his game, so
he is. He's sharp. I watched it. I knew he was still there, definitely.
And then the cool thing is his son was in the air and was communicating with us while he was in the air there. So he was watching his dad there. So kind of cute.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say cute, but very touching, actually, right? So
yeah, Walter is, and I've sat down with him. A number of times now, just to kind of. Share
lots of history there, right? I mean, he was
history.
here since he was 6 years old, I think, 1946 or something like that, right?
Tons of history. Actually, when I went into my office, I started to move things around a little bit. When I first went in, and I moved things around, and I pulled one of the credenzas off of the wall and changed it around. And there was a certificate, one of Walter's certificates.
So maybe he scratched his initials on the desk or something.
Was behind the wall. Was behind the credenza that I moved. So I got that to him.
Anything else you want to add? We try to keep these around 30 minutes, and I think we're just about 35. So
no, I think that's good. I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of sit down with you and give a little bit of insight and some updates to it, and look forward to doing it again. But the important things that what this started out with around kind of those needs for greater safety within the community, we hear residents, business owners. And we have read and seen the reports, and we're going to advocate strongly for the things that we can do to try to make a difference. And really, they come from higher levels of government. We'll manage them the best our ability here.
I think that letter did a lot, though. They got a lot of light. And then we've done probably like 6 or 7 stories and 6 or 7 interviews. So I think, the more that I think everything, I got advice from a minister once, right? You see a problem, just shine a light on it, man. Just shine a light on it.
Yeah, and there is, I'll share with you just kind of a little bit that we will be releasing another communication tomorrow with respect to, other concerns that we have. And when we start, and if I may, just kind of as, finish up, is, the report that the BIA did, and whether it be the Chamber of Commerce or whether it be a local business association. I think you and I, at one point in time, years ago, dealt with, small business tax that was trying to be implemented through the federal government. And one of the reasons why it substantially changed was because of concern and the voices. People heard voices. Yeah. We need people to kind of state that, okay, enough is enough, and we need concerns, because we can manage what we can manage, but we need some changes at higher levels.
Thank you for that. And thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent.